Hey everyone, welcome. Today, we're going to open up the direct line to your AI agent's brain. We're talking about InvokeAgentRuntime. This is the core API call that lets your applications have a real back-and-forth conversation with an agent. So let's just dive right in.
So let's think about this. You've built this amazing agent, you've given instructions, you've hooked it up to tools. But how does your app, your actual code, send a message to it and get a response back? What's the wire that connects them and makes that conversation happen?
Well, the answer is this one operation, InvokeAgentRuntime. You can think of it as the front door. It's the dedicated primary communication channel that lets you send prompts, questions, even files to your agent and get its intelligent output right back.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to cover the fundamentals of this direct line. Then, we'll walk through how to build your very first API call and unlock some really cool advanced features like streaming. After that, we'll see how to give your agent a memory for real conversations. And we'll wrap it all up with some pro tips for making your app truly production ready.
Okay, first up, the agent's direct line. Before we write a single line of code, let's get a really solid picture of what this API call is actually doing behind the scenes. The easiest way to think about InvokeAgentRuntime is to picture it as a super fast, specialized messenger. Your application packages up a request, hands it off to this messenger, and boom, it gets delivered straight to the agent for processing. No middlemen, no detours, just a direct connection.
But before you can use this messenger service, you need the right key. Your application's IAM role absolutely must have this specific permission. Bedrock AgentCore InvokeAgentRuntime. Without it, the door to the agent is locked, period. It's the first and probably the most important security checkpoint you have to pass.
All right, enough theory, right? Let's get practical. It's time for Section 2, your first API call. We're going to break down the anatomy of a request piece by piece so you know exactly what's going on.
If you're using the Python SDK, which many of you probably are, it really just boils down to these 4 high-level steps. You set up your client, you craft your message, that's the payload, you make the actual call, and then you handle whatever the agent sends back. Simple as that.
And here's what that looks like in a quick Python snippet. First, create the AgentCore client. Then, prepare your payload. And finally, you make the actual call, InvokeAgentRuntime. It's actually pretty clean and concise. Now, let's break down those key parameters you see inside that call.
First up, Agent Runtime ARN. Every single agent you create gets a unique Amazon resource name, or ARN. Just think of this as the agent's specific phone number or mailing address. You have to provide this so the service knows exactly which agent to route your message to.
Next is Runtime Session ID. And I really want you to listen to this one because it's absolutely crucial. This is the ID for a specific conversation. Every single message you send within the same chat has to have the same session ID. This is literally how the agent remembers what you were talking about 2 minutes ago. We're going to dive way deeper into this in a bit.
And finally, we have the payload. This is the good stuff, the heart of your message. It's the actual prompt or the data that you're sending. You'll format it as JSON, and then you have to encode it into binary data before you send it over the wire.
Okay, so we've got the basics down. Now for the really fun part in Section 3, Advanced Capabilities. This API is way more than just a simple text-in, text-out machine. It has some powerful features that are perfect for modern interactive apps.
Let's talk about user experience. With the standard API call, the user types something, hits enter, and they wait. They see a spinner. They wait some more until the agent has figured out its entire answer. But with streaming, the response starts coming back instantly, chunk by chunk, word by word. It makes your app feel alive and incredibly responsive. It's a total game changer.
And get this, it's not just about text anymore. You can send multi-modal requests. What that means is you can take an image, package it up, and send it right alongside your text prompt. You could literally ask your agent, hey, what do you see in this picture I just sent you? And it'll analyze it.
Now, there is a rule you have to play by. Whether you're sending a huge document or a really high-res image, the total size of that payload can't be more than 100 megabytes. That's actually pretty generous, but it's a hard limit you need to keep in mind, especially if you're working with big files.
Okay, Section 4. Let's talk about conversation context. Remember that runtime session ID I said was so important? Well, now we're going to see exactly why. This simple little parameter is the key to unlocking one of the most powerful features of any agent, giving it a memory.
And the logic here is just beautifully simple. When a user starts a brand new chat, your application just needs to generate a completely new, unique session ID.
Then, for every single message after that, in that same conversation, you just reuse the exact same ID. That's it. That's the secret sauce that lets the agent link all the messages together.
Now here is a pro tip that will save you a world of headaches down the road. Don't use simple things like chat1 or user123 for your session IDs. Use what's called a universally unique identifier, or a UUID. This practically guarantees that two different conversations, maybe from two different users talking at the exact same time, will never, ever accidentally get mixed up.
We are in the home stretch with our final section, errors and best practices. Let's wrap this all up with some real-world advice for building applications that don't fall over when something unexpected happens.
Look, you're going to run into errors. It's just part of development. So think of this table as your quick troubleshooting guide. If you see a validation exception, the first thing to check is your request parameters. Get a resource not found? Double-check that agent ARN. Access denied is almost always an IAM permission issue. And if you get throttling, well, your app is just making calls too fast and you need to slow it down. So, to pull it all together into a final checklist, always use session management to give your agent context. Process those streaming responses for a fantastic user experience. Build solid error handling, and remember that 100 megabyte limit. Oh, and one last tip. For really simple, predictable tasks, you might not even need the LLM. You can use the execute operation to just get things done directly.
So there you have it. We've covered the fundamentals, the code, the advanced features, and the best practices. The communication channel is officially open. You have the direct line to your agent's brain. The only question left is, what amazing, useful, or just plain cool thing are you going to ask it to build first?